Penn State takes to the mat to take on an Ivy League foe in the Princeton Tigers. Hello and welcome into University Park, PA for this NCAA wrestling contest. I'm Luke Stefanisco, joined alongside Massimo Manfra here on Press Row. And Massimo, Penn State comes into this one after winning their
coming squad. They've been a little bit unlucky in duels, but as you see the lineup right here, they've got a good amount of ranked wrestlers and a good amount of youth that's really going to power them through.
Yeah, some of the best matches. One of them we expect to start off the duel at 125, Mark Anthony McGowan.
And they have come against some impressive foe, guys like Nick Provo of Stanford, guys like Jet Strickenberger of West Virginia, and the list goes on. He's, been really close at getting those ranked wins against really nice opponents. He fell to a 2-0 decision against Sheldon Seymour, which we obviously know Luke Lillidahl has some history with. So no reason to underestimate Mark Anthony McGowan and Luke Lillidahl. I mean, the resume speaks for itself. The wrestler out of Wyoming Seminary, the #1 wrestler at the weight class. An undefeated season is brewing for him. 16-0 this year, 8-0 via Tech Fall, and the list goes on for Lillidahl.
These two met all the way back in 2023 in the Wyoming Seminary Blair Academy duel. Mark Anthony McGowan struck first in the second period, getting a takedown of Lillidahl. Lillidahl escaped, knotted it up at 2, but McGowan earned the escape point in the third period before Lillidahl secured a takedown with 30 seconds left. A 4-3 victory in what was an incredible Seminary Blair Academy duel. We'll get a rematch and a look at how they've developed here tonight as we get off at 125.
A special treat for this Rec Hall crowd.
And fighting here off to the right side of the Penn State logo. Lillidahl really pushed the pace in that match against Nick Bouzakis. Nearly secured a takedown in that third period, but took Bouzakis into deep waters that perhaps he hadn't been tested on the entire season.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Luke Lillidahl, he could have gotten the win right at the end of sudden victory. Many of the fans thought he did. It was just after the time ran out. He was able to finish the job later on, but Lillidahl just so quick, and you can see Mark Anthony McGowan, he knows it, which is why he's, starting off in a slower defensive style here.
Already some murmurs from the Penn State crowd, not happy with the positioning of McGowan on the edge of the boundary, as we've eclipsed a minute so far in the first period. No scoring so far, and we'll get a stalemate call. Official returns him to the center.
Yeah, no, that's, honestly, a part of the scouting report for Mark Anthony McGowan. He knows Luke Lillidahl and how he wrestles and is going to try and limit the shots that he has to take.
That first period in their contest in high school went scoreless. Look to see if either one of them can break the duck here in the first period in their first matchup in college.
Yeah, McGowan has to be really in tune with how he's going to defend. He's really trying to stay compact there.
McGowan went low on the leg, nearly had the leg of Lillidahl, but he couldn't corral it in. And Lillidahl pushing pressure here. Back to the boundary. McGowan looking to avoid stepping back as, again, the Penn State crowd making some noise. Maybe wanting a stall call early on in this one, as we will tick just under a minute to go.
Yeah, McGowan's just really trying to keep his center of gravity low as he gets hit for the stall warning there.
First of the match for McGowan. No more to give for the sophomore from Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, a pair of talented sophomores starting us off here. McGowan, obviously number 12 in the nation. Lillidahl sitting pretty on top of the leaderboard there.
Both guys traveled some distance to do their high school wrestling. Luke Lillidahl, Wyoming Seminary in Pennsylvania. He's a St. Charles, Missouri native. Obviously, McGowan, Tampa native, traveled to do his wrestling at Blair Academy in New Jersey.
Yeah, Lillidahl really trying to use some hand ties to get around there, but McGowan just keeping low.
Another stalemate call as the official will return them to the center. No development from that position on the far edge of the mat. Tick under 10 seconds here. No scoring in the first period so far between Lillidahl and McGowan. As I say that, second stall call, and the first point of the match goes to Luke Lillidahl. It's 1-0 as we end the first period.
Yeah, if you're the Rec Hall faithful here, you thought it was brewing. Just so much staying low and backing out from Mark Anthony McGowan, and that's the result there.
Joe Dubuque making sure McGowan knows he can't continuously back up, especially with the pressure of the first stall call applied. McGowan will begin the second period on bottom, however. He'll look to tie this one up.
Yeah, McGowan, if anything this season, he's had a little bit of difficulty against ranked wrestlers. He's coming off of a win against Rutgers' Aiden Smith, though.
McGowan earns the escape point. It's back to all even here as McGowan does a nice job of circling back in to the mat to avoid another stall call. Lillidahl once again pushing him towards the boundary. Left foot of Lillidahl still in contact. Now they'll slide away. And another stall call against McGowan gives Lillidahl a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, no, Lillidahl knew what he was doing there. It was very obvious that as soon as he had given up that first point, Luke Lillidahl is just going to play into the game and into the mindset of Mark Anthony McGowan and force another stall.
Some dangerous territory for McGowan now with 2 one-point stalls already awarded for Lillidahl.
You don't want to give up a 2-point stall, that's for sure, especially against a guy like Luke Lillidahl.
Lillidahl will have the decision to begin the third period. So once again, they find themselves on the edge of the boundary. Lillidahl a shot, but no re-attack off the denial from McGowan.
Luke wants to get that single leg on that left leg of Mark Anthony McGowan, but it's just been so intentional to stay away.
Pressure from McGowan and Lillidahl alternatively, but they circle back in before they go out of bounds. 54 seconds left in the second period. 2-1 the score for the Nittany Lion wrestler. Knew this one had the potential to be a tight matchup as it's been their entire careers. McGowan nearly dropped down to a knee. Penn State fans have seen that a lot this season. A lot of college wrestlers adopting the one-knee style. And another stall call against McGowan. That'll put him at a 3-1 deficit. Lillidahl still pushing pressure here on the edge of the mat. He'll rotate him out of bounds. Official wants more action. 4-1 for the Nittany Lion, 21 seconds left to go.
Yeah, Luke Lillidahl really hasn't had that many matches become that close. Obviously, you had Nick Bouzakis' sudden victory, but besides that, really only a few decisions that weren't that close in actuality. The scoreboard showed it, but Lillidahl had control. This might be another one of those decisions for Lillidahl.
2 seconds to go, and we'll end the second period 4-1 in favor of Luke Lillidahl. He'll have the decision, choosing to start neutral for the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean, Luke Lillidahl, he's really just begging for some action here. He wants to get going.
He's kept McGowan on the back foot, forcing him towards the out-of-bounds line.
I mean, one could really say back knee if you're Mark Anthony McGowan, just trying to stay as far away from Lillidahl as possible.
Definitely a defensive strategy for McGowan that's unfortunately led to the stall points for Lillidahl. His hand fighting turning fairly physical here on the boundary again. Another stalemate to return the wrestlers back to the center.
Obviously, I don't think it'll get there, but if it needs to be reinforced, he's only a few stall warnings away from disqualification.
Something you don't typically see in college. A lot more at the high school ranks. Lillidahl continuously pushing McGowan, showing no real interest to go forward.
I'm not sure if I've seen McGowan really put in a serious shot there.
A lot of hand fighting this match.
Interesting. Both teams don't deny that it happened. It's just on whom it was by.
Low shot there from McGowan. Attack unsuccessful.
Referee trying to spur on action.
5-1 for Luke Lillidahl. Nearly a slide-by attempt for the Nittany Lion Unsuccessful. McGowan back to that boundary line again. He went low. Lillidahl sprawled out to defend. Now McGowan firmly out of bounds. Lillidahl looking to push. McGowan trying to circle back in. Lillidahl went low on an attack. They'll be locked up here, and they'll slide out of bounds to return back to the center in neutral position.
I mean, I would say that sequence there is very indicative of how this match has gone. Just on the edge if you're Mark Anthony McGowan, and Luke Lillidahl is really just trying to spur something on to score some points.
Tough fought match for McGowan. Wrestled defensively and has done an admirable job of denying Lillidahl any real offense. 5-1 here, another stall.
Make it 7-1. This match still has 6 seconds to go, despite the celebration of the fans.
And they'll have one more stall call to go.
They're counting up the stalls. I believe there's one more until disqualification. The assistant referee going over to the monitor to try and count them up.
This one's been a wild one. Neither wrestler has found a single point off of an attack.
That is to disqualification for Mark Anthony McGowan. Luke Lillidahl probably gets his weirdest win of the season to put the Nittany Lions up, and that will count as 16 points for the Nittany Lions.
6-0 the team score as we move to 133 with Marcus Blaze and Ethan Rivera.
What an interesting start to this duel between the Princeton Tigers and the Nittany Lions.
Rivera perhaps wrestling tonight off the back of his biggest win in his young career, a victory over Dylan Shaver in the Rutgers duel. A nice ranked win for Princeton's 133-pounder. No re-attack there from Rivera as we get our second ranked matchup of the duel. Rivera went low on the leg, another re-attack. Blaze still in that front lock position with Rivera.
Yeah, Rivera's been back and forth for the Tigers, obviously 32nd in the nation, but he's had, you know, he's had a fair few of punches taken and given.
Back to center we go, 2:30 left in this first period.
Obviously, you'll see through this match, Marcus Blaze's style is just so compact. He's really grounded in his legs, and he keeps his arms really tight to his body, not really offering an opponent much opportunity for a serious shot. Ethan Rivera will absolutely have his work cut out for him to try and break things down, as Blaze will try and look for a shot-reshot for scoring opportunities throughout this match.
Blaze undefeated on the season, 18-0, 6 tech falls, 4 falls to his name. As he goes low, gets the leg of Rivera, looking to switch to a single, whizzer in for the Tiger.
Yeah, Rivera having to rely on some balance.
Trip for Blaze. No control yet.
Trying to bring that other leg in.
He's got it. 3 points for Marcus Blaze, the first takedown of the duel, and it's 3-0 for the Nittany Lion.
Yeah, it was a great attempt by Rivera on that single leg to just try and keep his center of gravity away from Marcus Blaze. He got the fall and stayed in neutral, but Marcus Blaze able to really just bring that other leg in for the 3.
Minute 16 to go as they slide out of bounds. Return to the center, Blaze still in control. And that win over Ben DeVino in the Ohio State duel, it looked nearly all was lost for Marcus Blaze, but he managed to get to his feet with about 10 seconds left and wrap the leg of Ben DeVino to turn around into a reversal for a huge win to spur Penn State momentum.
Marcus Blaze, in my opinion, one of the most brilliant wrestlers in the nation. You wouldn't believe that he is one of the younger guys as well, especially in this Penn State room, but just the knowledge of your situation to really be able to take that reversal instead of just an escape and knot things back up just to end it there against Ben DeVino.
He's one of 3 undefeated ranked wrestlers at 133, joined alongside fellow freshman in Jax Forrest. What a matchup that could be if those two end up meeting down the line. 36 seconds to go in the first period. Rivera earns the escape for the Tigers. It's 1-3.
Yeah, Rivera last weekend had a really nice one, defeating Dylan Shaver of Rutgers as well as Evan Mugalian of UPenn. both by quite close decisions, but was able to really get the job done in a closer match.
He and his brother have been big help for the Tigers, both at the lower weights. Brother Eli at 49, Ethan at 133. We'll see Eli in a few matches as the first period ends. Marcus Blaze ahead, 3-1.
They can just control you from then on.
Blaze looking to escape. Rivera thinking mat return. Blaze sits back down, trying to sneak his way out. Now looking to grab the legs of Rivera near the boundary.
Yeah, Blaze gets that leg. I mean, he's looking to break the arm and just twist around.
Rivera doing a good job of keeping Blaze attached at the hip as they'll go out of bounds to return to the center. Blaze still on the bottom.
Yeah, Blaze did his hardest there to control that leg without a potentially dangerous. Obviously, with that knee twisting like that, it's something the referees are looking at instantly. But just too close to the edge of the mat there.
One of the question marks with Blaze after that victory over Davino was, can he escape from the bottom? Rivera making it tough for Blaze right now. As now they move to the other side of the mat. Rivera still in control, but Blaze finds his way out before they go out of bounds. It's 4-1 for the Nittany Lion with 1:07 to go in the second period.
Yeah, no, really impressive mat wrestling at the start of this period by Ethan Rivera. Obviously, he is an accomplished freestyle wrestler himself. He and his brother, who we'll see later, Eli, they represent Puerto Rico. They got some freestyle mat time at the Pan Ams earlier in the summer for the U20 Pan Ams in Peru.
Blaze himself, a very talented freestyle wrestler. He was the U20 world champ this year, alongside finishing third place at the U.S. Senior World Championships. Blaze in on an attack here, looking to work around, get his head free, to earn the three, but he won't have to, as he'll earn the takedown, and it's 7-1 for Blaze. Quick escape for Ethan Rivera. It's 7-2 with 23 seconds to go now. Rivera in on the leg of Blaze. Trying to throw the whizzer in defense. 15 seconds to go in the second.
Yeah, Blaze, really strong whizzer, sets himself up to get the other ankle.
Blaze maybe trying to free himself with short time in the second period. Making it tough for Rivera as the second period comes to a close. No takedown awarded. It'll stay 7-2 in favor of Penn State's 133-pounder.
And Marcus Blaze really strong there. Obviously a great shot by Rivera to get on that single leg. But Blaze put the whizzer in. Honestly, he grabbed his own ankle to really stop any momentum by Ethan Rivera, and it just set himself up to peel over for the left ankle of Rivera.
Now Blaze gets a chance to work here off the back of Rivera. Try and build that riding time as he currently sits at 35 seconds worth.
Yeah, if he were to get up that riding time, it could set him up for a major decision in this match.
Rivera really unable to build any sort of base right now on the ground. Blaze doing a good job of working on top. Rivera got to his feet, tripped back down by Blaze. Now he'll build a base close to freeing the grip of Blaze. They go out of bounds before he can do so, and they'll have to return to the center.
And smart by Blaze, let him up and just walk him out as that riding time gets over 1 minute.
Minute 2 to be exact on the riding time clock, 1:19 left in the period.
Yeah, it'll just be a cut from Blaze, setting himself up exactly for that possible major decision.
Got the riding time he wanted, would need another takedown to secure the major. Looking for his opportunity, a minute left to go in the third period.
Yeah, Blaze's eyes are locked on that far leg of Rivera right now.
50 seconds left. Blaze still searching for his third takedown of the bout. Blaze
Blaze looking for that collar tie slap down right into a shot. Rivera doing strong to just back away.
The attack from Rivera here. Blaze now trying to wrap around and earn the takedown. Right on the edge of the mat. Close to out of bounds. Blaze going to try and pull him back in. And he does. Marcus Blaze, a takedown. 10-3, and he's hunting for the major. 15 seconds to go to close out this victory over Rivera.
Yeah, no, just impressive by Marcus Blaze on that reshot from Rivera. Let him come in and then just twist around, get that leg, pull him back in for the takedown.
With that being said, the riding time point added on, an 11-3 major decision win for Marcus Blaze at 133, and he'll wrap up an undefeated dual season to head into the Big Ten tournament, potentially as the #1 seed to be determined.
Could you ask for a better freshman season in the regular season? 19-0 for Marcus Blaze, and you saw it at the end there. It just looked comfortable.
Or here in Rec Hall in the season finale for Penn State taking on Princeton. Penn State out ahead as we move to 141 with Braden Davis taking on the Ivy League Wrestler of the Week, Matthew Martino.
Yeah, Matthew Martino had a roller coaster of a weekend last week. Obviously, he got a major pin against CJ Composto of UPenn, the #9 ranked wrestler at 141. He ended his weekend with a tech fall, a loss by tech fall against Joey Olivieri of Rutgers in that in-state matchup. But what a certainly difficult weekend. The #9 and #11 wrestlers in the nation for Martino.
And then you add on #12 here in Penn State's Braden Davis, looking for a bounce back after a tech fall loss to Jesse Mendez. It's been a wild ride for Braden Davis this season. His 3rd weight class in 3 collegiate seasons.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't really intended to be the 141 starter of this Nittany Lions squad, but you know, some injuries got involved, and Braden Davis, next man up mentality, right back in, and Cale Sanderson has been absolutely praising Braden Davis for his just versatility. When things happen, Braden Davis just working through them.
3 losses this season to some very tough opponents. Brock Hardy of Nebraska, the aforementioned Jesse Mendez of Ohio State as Davis. Nice work to earn 3 points and put himself ahead with 1:38 to go in the first period.
Yeah, no, Davis is an aggressive wrestler. He really likes to go for points, and obviously that can get you into some hairy situations, as we saw with Brock Hardy and Jesse Mendez. But as Martino will get the escape there, but Davis just keeps his head down and keeps going.
Davis wanted the mat return there, couldn't corral Martino as they went to the ground. So it's now 3-1. Davis still out ahead. Collar tie just off the Nittany Lion logo with 1 minute to go. And we'll get a stalemate to return them back to the starting position.
Yeah, no, Braden Davis, he likes to keep his opponents close, which obviously gives plenty of reshot opportunities. But Braden Davis, a really tenacious wrestler, really likes just to keep going. He's not necessarily one of the most defensive guys on this Penn State squad or in the nation, but you know, he racks up the points. He's had many duels this season, over 10 points.
Davis thought about a double as the stall warning's called against Martino. He switches to a single on the far side of the mat. To finish, Martino playing defense, 20 seconds to go in the period. Davis burying that head into the mat, looking to work his way around. Official waiting on the call. No clear control for Davis as he returns him back to the mat. And now earns the 3. Short time to go in the first period. Davis adds a second takedown. It's 6-1. Braden Davis, 2 first period takedowns, and he's out ahead of Martino.
Yeah, really cautious call of that second takedown. The referee's really letting that reaction time roll out, but Davis gets that trip and gets around for the 3 points there at the end of the period.
Davis will start on the bottom here. 21 seconds of riding time accumulated in that first period. Martino 12-12 on the season. He's recorded 1 tech fall and 2 falls on the season.
Davis not trying too hard to get up from his backside here.
Sitting out currently with 1:35 to go. Martino putting some heavy pressure on the back of Braden Davis. We got a stalemate call to return them back to the starting position.
Yeah, an interesting stalemate there. I'm shocked that there wasn't any more impetus by Braden Davis, especially in, thoughts of a stall, especially after the first match at 125 pounds that we had.
It's to be noted that Davis on a traditional 141-pounder as he works his way out of an escape via a scramble there, and it's 7-1.
Yeah, he was an All-American at 133 pounds, placed 5th.
An NCAA qualifier at 125 his freshman year. Someone who many thought could break the 125 curse that's been hung over the Penn State program. He was the first to maybe show some cracks in it. Then Luke Lillidahl placed 3rd last year for the Nittany Lions. Certainly made his impact for Penn State. Martino looking to earn a takedown here, and he will. Nearly took Davis fully down to the mat, but he worked around to earn the back and get the 3 points.
Yeah, quick call by the referees to give the 3 there. He really had the upper half of Braden Davis locked up, so he really didn't need to bring him down fully.
Davis back to that seated position. And Martino really putting pressure off the back of Davis.
Clock now under 15 seconds in this second period.
Davis gets out. To the dismay of the Princeton coaching staff, it's 8-4 now. Less than 5 seconds to go in the second period. Late shot attempt for Martino. That's the end of the period. Davis still out ahead. Martino will start on the bottom, looking to make it a 3-point match here in the third period. Looking to break the grip of Davis, who returns him back down to the mat. Davis tried to tilt back. Now Martino back to his feet. Not free of the grip from Davis just yet. Now he'll free himself, and it's 8-5. Takedown could tie it for Martino. However, Davis chunked into the riding time, and now it's only a 30-second advantage for Martino. Minute 10 to go in this third period.
Just a 3-point advantage by Davis, 8-5.
Martino hunting the takedown here. Shot attempt by the Tiger. Unsuccessful. Great defense from Davis.
Worth it to mention, Davis has no stall warning yet, as the Princeton coaching staff begging for it there.
Martino trying to work some underhooks here as he pushes Davis out of bounds and into the students section.
Just dodging the camera well here in Rec Hall.
45 seconds to go. Rec Hall crowd making some noise for their wrestler. Martino again putting the pressure on Davis with his back to the boundary.
Yeah, Davis quick to back up there. That's another push by Martino to Davis. Almost puts him in the stands.
And that one will be a point for Martino. It's 8-6. Davis now showing some offense. Martino wanted a shot. Davis looking for the double and the 3 to clinch it. He's got it. Braden Davis, a late takedown with 19 seconds to go, and he opens up a 5-point lead.
Braden Davis there really just turning defense into offense, using his advantage of being just a tenacious wrestler on the offensive side, gets the double and just puts Martino back onto the mat and gets the stalemate to recenter things 11-6 in favor of Davis.
Martino trying to free himself. Davis looking to hold him up. Martino will earn the escape point. It's 11-7. Less than 10 seconds to go. Martino's hunting.
Davis dancing away.
2 seconds, 1 second. Another stall called on Davis. But it won't matter. Braden Davis, a decision win at 141, 11-8. And it's 13-10 in favor.
And now up to 149 pounds.
We'll get to our second number 1 from Penn State with Shane Van Ness. He'll have a tough task in the number 14 ranked Eli Rivera.
Yeah, the brother of Ethan, who we saw just a few matches ago. Another one of the ranked wrestlers for this Princeton Tiger squad. He's 14th in the nation, and he is very talented.
2025 NCAA tournament qualifier was Rivera. Got some mat time in March in Philadelphia, much like Van Ness, who finished 3rd. Van Ness, a blast double on the edge, and an emphatic 3 points for Penn State as Van Ness goes ahead.
Yeah, Rivera, he's had a really tough past week and a half or so. Obviously, 3 straight losses against Rutgers, UPenn, and Cornell. Those wrestlers being Jackson Joy, Cross Waslewski, and Andrew Clark, 3 extremely talented 149-pounders across the entire nation.
It's the strength of schedule that makes you better. As we look at the blast double from Van Ness, Rivera got some airtime and fell behind Van Ness, nearly escaped, but Van Ness pulled him back in like a rubber band. And with 2 minutes to go, Van Ness still in control. Riding time already up over 35 seconds for the junior Penn State 149-pounder. Rivera earns his escape point. It's 3-1 now. Still in the favor of Van Ness. Rivera tried a shot. Van Ness on a re-attack. Has the leg here, but they'll go out of bounds before he can finish. Return back to the center and neutral. Rivera tried to throw Van Ness by, has him in a headlock. A huge chance for Rivera, nearly got Van Ness to his back, looking to earn the takedown, still has the headlock tight on Van Ness.
Challenge brick thrown by the Princeton bench. Rivera still trying to work around Van Ness, trying to get that leg around the left leg.
And he will have the takedown. Challenge brick still thrown. And they'll look at the original attempt from Rivera to see if he earned the 3 points on that first burst and scramble between Rivera and Van Ness.
I know, that's an interesting one. Obviously, Rivera, in the end, does get the takedown. So that challenge brick, really interesting to see what the referees will do there.
Brick, but they will still get the takedown, and Eli Rivera out ahead of Van Ness, 4-3.
Yeah, that move by Rivera and in defense by Shane Van Ness really reminds me of Shane Van Ness against Carter Young of Indiana, or of Maryland, excuse me, when the Nittany Lions went down to College Park. Almost could have gotten pinned by Young, but Shane Van Ness bailed out by the end of the first period and was able to wrestle back with
Rivera putting the pressure on, but it works against him as Van Ness on a reshot secures another takedown, and it's 7-4 for Shane Van Ness.
As I was saying, Shane Van Ness, he really thrives wrestling outside of uncomfortable positions. It really just drives him, and that's what drove him to score 31 points against Maryland's Carter Young after getting put into an uncomfortable position. Possibly could have lost the match then and there.
It's a point total you don't see very often.
Yeah, how's a tech fall, 31-15.
Rivera trying to get back to his feet, but less than 10 seconds to go. It appears as if Shane Van Ness will complete a ride out to end the first period. And his riding time well above a minute as the period expires.
Yeah, really back and forth. Obviously, both of these wrestlers had highlights, but Shane Van Ness ends it on the high note there, really getting a nice takedown at the end of the mat, at the edge of the mat at the end of the period.
Rivera wrestling a valiant match so far, had a good chance on that side headlock with Van Ness. Obviously earned the takedown, but could have potentially earned some near false swipes from the official. He earns the escape here, and it's 7-4. Van Ness putting the pressure, a double leg that goes out of bounds to return them back to the center.
The margins on the sides, north and south of the mat, are really slim. Obviously, you've seen the wrestlers go almost into the stands over there, into the student section, sitting on the floor right to the right side of the mat.
Minute 30 to go here in the second period at 149. Shane Van Ness leading Eli Rivera 7-5. Van Ness again, a takedown near the boundary.
Nothing was awarded there. He only got that single leg, and just both of them very quick to get out of bounds, really, again, close to that student section.
Cale Sanderson and company never really stirred out of their chairs on that attempt. Van Ness has the leg of Rivera, looking to work his way around and potentially work into a pinning combination.
Yeah, he's got that cross face. Trying to bring that leg further in is Van Ness.
Rivera sprawling his way out. Now Van Ness works his way to the back of Rivera and earns 3 more. 10-5 lead for the Penn State wrestler.
Yeah, just the knee of Rivera still in bounds. Van Ness trying to readjust. Still just that left foot of Shane Van Ness.
Teetering on the edge is the foot of Van Ness that will stir out of bounds. Riding time, 1:39 for Shane Van Ness, 23 seconds to go in the period.
Yeah, just a nifty takedown by Van Ness. Obviously, you saw the leg and crossface combination could have been a dangerous one for Rivera.
Working off the back here, going to want to look to earn the escape point before the period ends. Van Ness stops the attempt of Rivera to free himself, returns him back to the mat. 5 seconds to go in the period. And Van Ness will conclude the second period as he did the first. On top, another ride out. Riding time over 2 minutes.
Yeah, another period, another ride out to end it, and another minute of riding time for Shane Van Ness.
Saw the second takedown there. As Rivera and Van Ness locked up here in the center.
Yeah, Rivera very quick at the start of the period to get a shot in. Has that leg, but really nothing more.
Yeah, tough to score from this position unless you're Shane Van Ness, who worked his way free and earns 3 more. It's 13-5 before he cuts Rivera loose to make it 13-6.
Yeah, Shane Van Ness, those 3 points are a credit to his heavy and strong hips there. Really just blocked Rivera's shot, was able to get under the other leg and just work his way around.
Less than 1:20 to go in the third period. Riding time close to being secured for Shane Van Ness. That would make it major territory if the score were to stay the same. Rivera pushed out of bounds. Recall crowd wants stalling. The official just wants some more action with 1:01 to go.
Yeah, with both of these wrestlers' proclivity to go for the legs, both of them just very quick to drop their hips.
Van Ness on a shot. Rivera denied it well. Van Ness again low as a stall warning goes against Rivera, his first of the match. Van Ness still in on the leg of Rivera. Trying to throw the whizzer in as they go out of bounds and return back to neutral.
Yeah, I mean, as this match comes to its conclusion, both these wrestlers really just kind of mirroring each other.
Rivera certainly a tough competitor, and he's proved that tonight against Van Ness. Ranked as the nation's best for a reason. Rivera never backed down. Less than 20 seconds to go in the third period. Van Ness secured the riding time. Rivera nearly had a takedown to nullify the major decision, but they went out of bounds before he could secure it. Princeton lost their challenge brick earlier on in this match. Unable to use it, Van Ness in on the leg late as he earns an extra point on the stall warning to make it 14-6. Tack on riding time to make it 15-6, and a 9-point major decision win for Shane Van Ness at 149. 17-0 as PJ Duke takes the mat to take on Gavin Hawk.
Yeah, PJ Duke is, one of those freshmen that you just have to marvel at. He obviously a U.S. national team member after beating Yanni Diakomihalis at Final X in Newark, New Jersey. But Gavin Hawk, another freshman who is very capable for Princeton. He finds himself roughly 500. He did not wrestle against Rutgers or UPenn this past weekend. His last match was against #1 Meyer Shapiro of Cornell.
Yeah, Hawk's been battle tested. Mentioned Meyer as Duke earns a takedown on the boundary. Hawk's also wrestled Ty Waters of West Virginia this season, as he'll earn the escape point to make it a 3-1 match. He'll go low on the leg of Duke. But great defense there from the freshman from New York. PJ Duke, inside trip, 3 more points for the Nittany Lions 157-pounder to make it 6-1.
I mean, for PJ Duke, things just come easy. He really just visualizes everything really well, which sets up those shots. As he gets the shelf there.
Another trip and another takedown. For PJ Duke, it's 9-2 with 1:42 to go in the first period.
Yeah, really quick by PJ Duke. I mean, you don't necessarily think of speed when you think of PJ Duke, but his just superior strategy and tactical mindset really sets these shots up in flurries, and it really is just a windfall of points for the freshman from Slate Hill, New York.
Minute and a half to go in the first period as Duke looked to lock up a pinning combination there. Hawk earns the escape point to make it a 9-3 match.
Yeah, Duke, one of the top guys in the entire nation by fall.
Single switch to a double for 3 more points for PJ Duke. And it's 12-3. Duke working a hard crossface, looking to turn Hawk.
He kind of has it there, obviously, really trying to just get that leg and reset real quick for a tilt. There's the Turk.
Duke thinking Turk, he's used it a lot this season. He'll decide it against his better interest. Winning on the head, but Hawk manages to earn the escape point. 2-time Jersey State finalist, making it tough for PJ Duke. Hawk took a long shot, couldn't get it. Duke tried to trip, but Hawk stays on his feet. Less than 30 seconds to go in the first period. Duke again on the leg of Hawk. His fellow freshman trying to defend it as we get potentially dangerous before Duke can secure the takedown.
Yeah, Duke just a little bit too eager, a little bit too much twisting on that knee of Gavin Hawk. But PJ Duke, 12 points in this first period, riding time over a minute, and you can see why. He is one of those freshmen that you just have to watch.
Five seconds left in the first period here at 157. They'll let the buzzer sound. 12-4 in favor of PJ Duke after 1 in Rec Hall.
Yeah, no, PJ Duke, just a freshman who kind of just gets the job done. He'll clock in, get things done quick, and clock out. Not necessarily a notable guy. Doesn't do anything too flashy. He'll just get things done and really rack up the points. He was
another takedown for Duke as he picked the ankle of Hawk. It's 15-4, and to your point, Massimo, he's only lost this season to reigning national champion Antrell Taylor in a 2-1 loss in tiebreakers. Was unable to get out of the ride of Antrell Taylor, but Duke's definitely learned from that, and he's wrestled really well since that loss in the Nebraska duel.
Yeah, that duel in the BJC was, I mean, it was a loud one. It was really interesting to see as Antrell Taylor, he knew what he had to do, and that was just kind of keep P.J. Duke at arm's length, and it really set up for a low-scoring match that Antrell Taylor was able to use his strengths to win 2-1 in tiebreakers.
The veteran experience paid off for Taylor, but definitely a learning experience for Duke. And something to carry forward for as Taylor's a guy he might see in 2 weeks at the Big Ten Championships. Minute left in the second period. Hawk looking to find some offense here. Get himself on the board with a takedown. Princeton coaches telling Hawk to take no bad shots here as Duke always dangerous on a re-attack. Hawk had an opportunity. Now Duke showing off some speed to work around to the back and earn 3 more. It's 18-5.
Just a beautiful step over by P.J. Duke to both get yourself out of the way of a possible attack and set yourself up for that reshot.
Duke returns Hawk back to the mat as they go out of bounds.
Duke with a 13-point advantage here. One more takedown for the Tech fall, but he could want more.
Indeed, 17 seconds left in the second period. Minute 43 on the riding time clock for P.J. Duke. Hawk back to his feet, breaks the grip. 6 seconds left. And no offense from Duke. It appears he'll wait for the third period to try and end this match. Takedown's all he needs, 18-6 after 2 at 157.
And really, obviously, you know, you have most wrestlers are strong, they have that ability, but P.J. Duke just so tactical with everything that he employs.
Hawk gets the escape, now 18-7 in the battle between the two freshmen. Hawk a feint there, engaging with Duke, working near the boundary. Duke gonna bring Hawk down, no control yet, but Duke close to a takedown. Right on the boundary, Hawk trying to roll his way out of it in a scramble.
Yeah, dangerous roll there.
And a well-deserved stalemate with the effort from Gavin Hawk to roll through that one. And a minute 19 left, P.J. Duke still ahead, 18-7.
Yeah, Hawk showed the courage there. That's a interesting decision to roll when P.J. Duke was right there. Duke tried to stop the roll and just keep Hawk on his back, wasn't able to really get that far.
Duke goes low on a single, not able to finish just yet. He'll send Hawk down to the mat, drive through and earn 3 more.
As you saw Nick Lee signaling for that before it even happened.
Duke again, off the back of Hawk, earns the takedown and gets the first Tech fall of the night for Penn State at 157. Penn State takes the first 5 matches at 165 here in the second half of this duel between Princeton and Penn State with Mitchell Mesenbrink and Ty Whalen.
Right back to a ranked matchup. Ty Whalen, I think he's underrated, honestly. That 19 figure in the nation doesn't do him justice. Last year he peaked out at number 6 nationally, his highest spot. And he really can do some damage, but so can Mitchell Mesenbrink.
Whalen was an NCAA qualifier last season at 149, where the Tigers bulked up to wrestle 165. For Joe Dubuque's squad, he'll have, as you said, Massimo, a very tough ask in taking on Mitchell Mesenbrink, the nation's #1 and reigning national champion at 165.
Yeah, there's not necessarily anything specifically you can say that Mitchell Mesenbrink does poorly, and on that similar note, there's nothing that he does better than anything else. He's great at tech falls, he's great at takedowns, and he's great.
As you see right there, he's hyper-aggressive, and a very long shot for Mitchell Mesenbrink turns into 3 points with 2:10 to go in the first period. He's up 3-0. Armbar here off the back of Whalen near the boundary as they will go out of bounds.
Yeah, no, Mitchell Messenbrink, just such an intelligent wrestler there. And you can see why his major is psychology, because he just uses his brain and he uses his opponent's brain to his advantage.
Well, his major might be psychology, but the one thing he took the internet by storm for a couple weeks ago was his singing talent.
Pretty impressive. I definitely couldn't do that. Mitchell Messenbrink, if singing was what got you the Hodge Trophy, he's got my vote.
He certainly got it done on the mat this season. 7 tech falls, 7 falls to his name. Every victory this season for Messenbrink has been a bonus point victory in duels for Penn State. He's already accumulated a minute of riding time here with 1:17 to go in this first period. Whalen back to his feet. Messenbrink cuts him loose. 3-1 the score with a few ticks over a minute in this first period. Again, another long-range shot. In on the leg is Messenbrink. Whalen looking for his hips. Trying to fight his way through. Messenbrink going to find a way to score himself.
Trying to twist around is Messenbrink, setting himself up beautifully.
And a nice scramble for Mitchell Messenbrink, earns 3 more, and it's 6-1 with 35 seconds to go in the first period.
Yeah, Messenbrink was thinking more than 3 there. He set himself up beautifully for some back points, and it's still on his mind now. Trying to pry Whalen over for a tilt.
Has that arm of Whalen locked up. 15 seconds to go in the first period. Mitchell Messenbrink doing Mitchell Messenbrink things. 5 seconds to go before we can get any more offense on the ground. The buzzer sounds, but 1:49 of riding time and a 6-1 advantage for the reigning national champion.
Just incredibly impressive by Mitchell Messenbrink, and he's just, I wouldn't say aggressive, because sometimes that can have negative connotations for the position that sets yourself up in, but he's just so poignant with everything that he does.
Starts on top here in the second period. Whalen trying to find an escape.
Riding time over 2 minutes now, early in the second period.
Again on the arm of Whalen. Maybe thinking a turn here. Whalen trying to run with Messenbrink as Messenbrink gets him over. And he gets the fall. Mitchell Messenbrink, a pin in his last match in Rec Hall, this time in Rec Hall for Levi Haynes, the lone senior starter for Penn State, will get his last chance to pick up a win in Rec Hall.
Yeah, this one's special for Haynes. He has had plenty of storied bouts right here, right on this set of Resolite. And now, one last run in Rec Hall as a Nittany Lion.
28-0 the team score after 6 matches here in Rec Hall. Levi Haynes doing battle with Cody Tavoso of Princeton, who's in pretty deep on a shot here. Looking to spoil the senior night for Penn State's 174-pounder. Haynes in some danger as Tavoso still threatening.
Haynes really strong to keep things in neutral.
And he fights his way out of it. A spirited effort from the senior. Puts him back to neutral.
Tavoso just couldn't get the grip fully around to keep Haynes in.
And Haynes takes the leg and gets 3 points. A takedown for Penn State at 174, and he's out ahead 3-0.
Yeah, Haynes saw the shooting lane. He took it really quickly, and there wasn't really much Tavoso could do to just even keep some distance between.
It's almost a full circle moment for Levi Haynes. His first dual meet match in Rec Hall came nearly 3 years to this day, back on February 19th, 2023, as he earns his second takedown to make it 6-1. That day, he picked up a tech fall victory over Trevor Elfvin. He's never lost a match in Rec Hall in his Penn State career.
As we see another Turk from a different Nittany Lion now, controlling Tavoso and trying to bring him over.
Nearly got him over.
Not quite 45 degrees yet for Haynes.
Tavoso in some danger. He'll get back to his stomach and avoid any near fall swipes.
Yeah, really impressive from Tavoso to use his hips to just stay grounded to the mat.
43 seconds to go in the first period. Haynes riding strong off the back of Tavoso.
Haynes has been doing a fantastic job at keeping control of one of, if not both of, Tavoso's legs.
Stall warning called against Tavoso, his first of the match. With 10 seconds left, Haynes will complete a ride out. With his riding time nearing 2 minutes already, he'll take a 6-1 advantage into the second period.
Yeah, Haynes looked really eager there to try and force Tavoso onto his back, at least for swipes. Couldn't get it done completely, still tried to work on that. Obviously, he had that first attempt at the start of the saga, and it was looking really good. Just Tavoso 90 degrees instead of 45.
Haynes shrugs Tavoso off and earns the reversal to make it 8-1. And once again, he's right back on top. Cut Tavoso loose, another single. Tavoso tried to scramble through, but Haynes stuck with it. And now, trying to get Tavoso over to his back, wants the fall.
There's your swipes.
End his Rec Hall career in style. Tavoso trying to stay alive.
Trying to get a bow and arrow here to do it.
Haynes wants the storybook ending. Waiting for the mat slap.
Trying to notch the arrow. He's got the bow set up.
Tavoso trying to stay alive and continue fighting.
Shuffling around is Haynes, trying to finish it off. Just keeping that left shoulder up.
He's got it! Levi Haynes, the perfect ending to a perfect career at Penn State. And he finishes his time in Rec Hall with a pin at 174.
And the Rec Hall crowd loves it.
Princeton at 184.
3 matches left in the entire regular season. 15 duels. Just a little bit left in 2025-26.
Those last 2 victories, Penn State secures the victory in this duel, their 86th consecutive win in a dual meet to continue extending the NCAA record.
Just an indomitable force of wrestling might, these Penn State Nittany Lions.
To put the Penn State perspective into some terms, and just going across some of the other sports here on campus, the last time Penn State lost a dual meet, Gavin McKenna was 12 years old. Volleyball coach Katie Schumacher-Cawley was still an assistant with the university. And now football head coach Matt Campbell had his best season at Iowa State.
As Welsh gets the leg and gets it shelved, goes for the trip. Trying to bring Giles in.
Good job of defense by Xavier Giles. Welsh still threatening with the leg here with less than 2 minutes to go. Welsh collects the other leg and collects the takedown. A 3-0 lead for the Ohio State transfer here in Rec Hall.
Yeah, Rocco Welsh, the Pennsylvania native from Waynesburg, comes from Ohio State and slots beautifully into this historic Nittany Lions squad.
He had a major upset earlier on this season to claim the #1 ranking, defeating Angelo Ferrari, only the second person to defeat Ferrari in his career. That other wrestler being Carter Starachi last season while he was wearing his Penn State singlet. Giles in on a shot. Welsh wraps his way around and earns 3 more. 6-1 lead for the redshirt sophomore.
Rocco Welsh, I mean, he's good normally, but once he has that head of steam, it's like he's unstoppable. It really is just a insurmountable show of force by Rocco Welsh. Obviously, you saw it there, how quickly he moves when he sees the shot.
Giles earns the escape, but Welsh again, right back to the legs to earn 3 more points to make it 9-2. Seconds to go as Giles earns his 3rd escape point. It's now 9-3. Another single attempt from Welsh and a slam for 3 more.
Yeah, Rocco Welsh, he is just so strong. He really manipulates other wrestlers by just using his strength. He doesn't need to worry too hard about setting up a shot when you're that strong.
We'll have a stoppage here for blood time, as it'll be the first time we've had to pause since the 125 match that ended in disqualification. We'll take a look here at that takedown. Beautiful wraparound shot there from Rocco Welsh.
Yeah, I mentioned the head of steam, and if you'd believe me, Rocco Welsh is actually one of those wrestlers whose stamina is so good, he gets better the more time goes on. He is just so fantastic at, reserving energy and keeping things controlled in the first few periods, and then in that 3rd period, he will unleash fury. You saw it against his former team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Dylan Fishback. That was a special end to the 3rd period, which he said was an unbelievable experience in media. Strong to keep Giles down to end the 1st period.
12-3 after 1. That match against Fishback. Welsh faced a ton of adversity, but really battled through in the end, rallied back from a deficit in that 3rd period.
And obviously Dylan Fishback, a very smart, intuitive wrestler, was trying to keep as much distance away from Welsh as possible. He did get hit with the stall point, but it wouldn't have mattered. But Welsh stayed at it and got the takedown when necessary.
12-4 after a Giles escape, but Welsh in again on the legs and in for another takedown, 15-4, with just over a minute and a half to go in the 2nd period.
We mentioned that takedown differential earlier. Well, that's Rocco Welsh's 5th within 3.5 minutes.
15-5 now. Minute 20 left in the 2nd. Welsh up over a minute and a half of riding time. He's comfortably in major decision range. As he goes again for another takedown as Giles hit for stalling. But Welsh works through it and earns 3 more, 18-5 for the Nittany Lion. Welsh seems content to cut Giles loose.
A 12-point advantage, just 1 more.
Looking for the finisher on the edge. Welsh gets the takedown and gets the tech fall. He continues his stellar redshirt sophomore campaign with another victory to stay undefeated in a Penn squad. Josh Barr will do battle with Connor McCloskey here at 197.
Just such a dangerous streak of wrestlers. You mentioned the quad, Mitchell Messenbrink, Levi Haynes, Rocco Welsh, and now Josh Barr, and you can see they all do things so well.
15 seconds in, Barr secures a takedown, take a 3-0 lead. Right off the gun, Josh Barr wasting no time to get himself ahead. Klosky, one of the 3 freshman starters on this Princeton squad. He, Hawk, and Martino all have spent time as the starter this season. Klosky searching for his first victory in a dual meet this season in a tough matchup here with Barr.
Yeah, he's been quite unfortunate in duels. As the total this year is 3-16.
There's an escape point there. Just to attack on Barr, who goes defensive. Maybe now looking on a re-attack here. He tries to dump, now goes to the single and takes McCloskey down to his back nearly. McCloskey manages to get right side up as Barr gets awarded the 3 points for a takedown.
Yeah, McCloskey, when Barr got that single, he tried to just step away, raise that left foot, and Barr just pulls it out from under him.
Minute 40 to go in this first period. Oh, Barr caught McCloskey. He wants to end this one by fall.
Just such a quick assassin, and there it goes.
Josh Barr, another pin for Penn State. And tally 6 more points to the total for the Nittany Lions. Mirasola, fresh off the back of his biggest win in his collegiate career, taking on Sebastian Garibaldi of Princeton.
Yeah, last licks to a storied regular season as we'll get underway.
Mention that win for Mirasola. He's been close to numerous big-time ranked victories. Got a nice one over Ben Keeter in the duel against Iowa.
And he looks to get the double.
And a nice double to open up this contest. He takes a 3-0 lead. The match against Nick Feldman saw him win it in sudden victory against one of the best heavyweights in the country after 2 tough losses to Tegat Ali and AJ Ferrari.
Yeah, and this entire season, Cael Sanderson has just praised Cole Mirasola for his impressive mindset and agility.
And again, you see some of the agility right there as he earns a quick second takedown to make it 6-1 with less than a minute eclipsed in this first period. Back to his feet, Mirasola again. Another takedown, and it's 9-2.
Yeah, and after that victory against Nick Feldman of Ohio State, Cole Mirasola said, "Win or lose, I love what I do. Winning is pretty good too, though." And you can see her right there. Mirasola just has so much enjoyment of this sport. Obviously, he's on the same team as his twin brother, which has to be a special thing as well.
Brother Connor wrestled a couple dual meets with Cole this season. As Cole's in on another takedown attempt here. Garibaldi trying to fight it off.
Yeah, Mirasola just trying to bring that left leg in.
Garibaldi has to accept it. A 4th takedown for Cole Mirasola. It's 12-3 in the first period.
Yeah, Garibaldi 7-12 on the season. Has had some back and forth moments. This past few weeks for him has been a little bit difficult. Obviously, the most recent duel against Rutgers, he has to deal with Hunter Katka, who we saw Mirasola beat earlier in the season.
Mirasola wanted a takedown attempt. Now Garibaldi trying to find his way out of this scramble in a good spot, but stalemate ends that. He'll return back to the center. 45-0 the team score here in State College. As Mirasola with an ankle pick. Turn 3 more, 15-4 for the heavyweight.
And that's an interesting term for Cole Mirasola. Obviously, the story with him this entire season at the heavyweight has been he's not really. He's weighed in at 227 pounds and has been given significant weight against major Big Ten opponents such as the aforementioned Nick Feldman, Tegat Ali of Michigan, as well as even AJ Ferrari, another guy who moved up from 197.
A beautiful first period from Mirasola sees him ahead 15-4 as we'll head to the second. Garibaldi on bottom for the Tigers.
But as you've seen on display, Cole Mirasola, he just loves to use that agility and his brain to really set everything up for him. He's a wrestler who lets things come to him, and even when they don't, he's not afraid to get down and make things stick.
15-5. So we're under a minute 45 here in the second. Another takedown to make it 18-5. Another takedown would end it and be Mirasola's 4th tech fall of the season. Looking for his opening. Minute 25 to go in the second. Garibaldi creates some separation, but they'll lock up in the center. Wanted again to go low. Now Mirasola finishes a blast double for 3 and the tech fall. A perfect 50 for Penn State to cap off the season in Rec Hall. Penn State defeats Princeton 50-0 to end their regular season and get set for the Big Ten tournament in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then